Greetings, BookTube. Welcome to the History Shelf. I am your host, Peg. Wow. Is anyone up for some new arrivals? Huh? I have new arrivals. I see you've got two dogs. Got Daisy over here. Got Boomer hiding in the corner. They're not happy. Martine is putting up things on the wall. And when she's banging on the wall, Boomer runs and hides. And he runs to me for protection. Isn't that funny? We've got some new arrivals, and thinking about how I am portraying, or not portraying, but how I deliver and show these new arrivals as far as from publishers, as far as upcoming or brand new history releases. I've been thinking about making a new, I don't think that this is just a programming note real quick. I had started making a couple of few videos called New Week, New Arrivals, but since things are kind of, I don't get to it every week, I'm thinking of making a new series with the same type of title and just kind of indicating which number it is, but I'm thinking of calling it New History on the Horizon. And then I'll just number it. You know, number 1, number 2. So if you see something you like, just jot down which number on the video it is, and you know, you can always go back later and find it. But what do you guys think about that? Would you like to see a new series? You know, hopefully weekly, but if not, you know, at least 2 or 3 times a month, as new things come in from publishers, advanced review copies, finished copies, brand new books. But basically, it would be like New History on the Horizon. And then like number 1 and then number 2. So let me get your feedback on that because that's very important to me. I want to make sure and if you have suggestions too. But I'm kind of leaning toward History on the Horizon because it indicates upcoming. So I don't have to keep using those words, new and upcoming, new and upcoming. Let's just stick with a title and put a number at the end and call it good. Okay, so having said that, let's tap in. I've got a ton of new books. I've got 2 piles. So this is going to be, I don't know what I'll name this one. Probably just, I'll name it something. But I want to get your input first on the History on the Horizon, okay? All right. You guys are going to love some of these books coming out. Now, some of these books I will be reviewing. I've been commissioned to review. And some I have advanced review copies of. I won't be able to get to them, but I might be able to review them on the channel at some point. So this book is coming out. I like this author, this historian. She hasn't written anything for quite a while. But, well, I think the last thing, there goes that camera, the last thing she wrote, she had a very unfortunate book cover that showed FDR standing. Okay, I think it had something to do with Yalta. It's not saying on here. 8 Days at Yalta. Okay. She wrote a great book on Lusitania, an epic tragedy. She's written about Marie Curie. Now she's turning her focus to Charles Darwin. This book is coming out from Atlantic. Is this, let me get this right. Is it Algonquin? Grove, okay, thank you. Atlantic Monthly Press, also known as Grove Atlantic. And this is my advanced review copy of The Evolution of Charles Darwin, The Epic Voyage of the Beagle That Forever Changed Our View of Life on Earth by Diana Preston. So many of you might have heard of Diana Preston, but this is a big chunkster. I mean, it's an advanced review copy, but it's close to like 470 pages. So let me just read you a little bit about The Evolution of Charles Darwin, coming out early next month. When 22-year-old aspiring geologist Charles Darwin boarded the HMS Beagle in 1831 with his microscopes and specimen bottles, invited by ship's captain Robert Fitzroy, who wanted a travel companion at least as much as a ship's naturalist, he hardly thought he was embarking on what would become the most epic-changing voyage in scientific history. Nonetheless, over the course of the 5-year journey around the globe in often hazardous conditions, Darwin would make observations and gather samples that would form the basis of his revolutionary evolutionary theories about the origins of species and natural selection. Drawing on a rich range of revealing letters, diary entries, and Darwin's and Fitzroy's own accounts, Diana Preston chronicles the epic voyage as it unfolded, tracing Darwin's growth from untested young man to accomplished adventurer and natural scientist. Darwin often left the ship to climb mountains or ride hundreds of miles across pampas and through rainforests in search of further unique specimens. From the wilds of Patagonia to the Galapagos and other Atlantic and Pacific islands, as Preston vibrantly relates, he collected and contrasted giant fossils and volcanic rocks, observed the Argentinian rhea, Falklands fox, and Galapagos finch, through which he began to discern connections between deep past and present. Darwin never left Britain again after his return in 1836, though his mind journeyed far and wide to develop the theories that were first revealed, after great delay and with great trepidation, in 1859 with the publication of his epical book on the origin of species, offering a unique portrait on one of history's most consequential figures. The evolution of Charles Darwin is a vital contribution to our understanding of life on Earth. Yes. So obviously, nothing really new is here to reveal. It's just more of a more recent book about Darwin, kind of like, intellectual biography / biography, but just a newer appraisal, but nothing too new here or shattering. But it sounds like it'll be a good read. Plus, I like the author. She's got a little bit of a cachet there, so I think this will sell well. Grove Atlantic. Coming October 4th. Let your library know about it, or put it in your cart, whatever your druthers are. All right. Ooh-wee. Next book is by a man I am currently reading, one of his back title books with Bill Rutenberg over at the Rutenberg Library. We're reading Max Hastings' Catastrophe 1914. It's fantastic. Well, Max Hastings has a brand new book coming out, and I get to review it for Shelf Awareness. Woo! In fact, I need to start reading this tonight, tomorrow at the latest. And I've got to read this in about 10 days. It's a junkster. It's a nice little galley here, but it's a good 470 pages. Not the same length as that other one. This is Max Hastings' new book, and I can't wait, because I love reading about the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Abyss, Nuclear Crisis, Cuba, 1962, by Max Hastings. So, as you can see, this is just a little bound galley, so it's not the finished at all. I hope to get the finished, but so this didn't come with a, maybe it's in the front. Oh, yeah. All right. All right. So it says here, best-selling author Max Hastings offers a welcome reevaluation of one of the most gripping, intense international events in modern history, Cuban Missile Crisis, providing a people-focused narrative that explores the attitudes and conduct of Russians, Cubans, Americans, and a terrified world that followed each moment as it unfolded. In The Abyss, Max Hastings turns his focus to one of the most terrifying, I just read that, the 13 days in October 1962, when the world stood on the brink of nuclear war. Hastings looks at the conflict with fresh eyes, focusing on the people, Kennedy, Khrushchev, Castro, and a host of others, and their advisors. Combining in-depth research with Hastings' well-honed insights, The Abyss is a human history that unfolds on a wide, colorful canvas. As the action moves back and forth from Moscow to Washington, D.C. to Havana, Hastings seeks to explain as much as to describe the attitudes and conduct of the Soviets, Cubans, and Americans, and to recreate the tension and heightened fears of countless innocent bystanders whose lives hung in the balance. Reflecting on the outcome of these events, he reveals how the aftermath of this momentous crisis continues to reverberate today. If you're a fan of Hastings' works, and now he's turning his focus away from like World War II or World War I, and he's going into the Cuban Missile Crisis. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's very people-focused, which I dig. I like to read about the characters of the people involved, you know. So, oh, and who is the publisher on this? This is going to be put out by, this is William Collins, which is a imprint of HarperCollins. All right. October 18th, and my review is due in 11 days. So I got to start reading. Okay. Luckily, I have honed my reading speed a bit. I have definitely gotten up to be a faster reader, and my note taking, I have really honed that down to some perfection. I don't want to say perfection, but it's down to where I'm very pleased with it. I kind of know what I need to tease out for reviews, what is important for people wanting to know about the book, and so now I can read with that in mind, so that's helpful. All right, just going to wet my whistle. All right, next book I am reviewing, it's also another chunkster. This one's coming out October 25th, and my review is due on the 25th of this month. I'm sorry, yes, so September 25th. So actually, I need to start reading this about 6 days after I start reading The Abyss. It's another big book. This one's going to earlier American history. Take off my note here. This one is by an author I don't think I've read anything by him before. Okay. I have an interview with the author here. Okay, October 25th. This is coming out from Riverhead Books. I've really been enjoying their stuff lately. It's a really good publisher. This is Indivisible. Daniel Webster and the Birth of American Nationalism by Joel Richard Paul, who wrote Without Precedent, which I don't believe, and I've never read that. Without Precedent was about Chief Justice Marshall. All right. Again, this is coming out from Riverhead Books, October 25th. So what is this about? It's the story of Daniel Webster, of how Daniel Webster popularized the ideals of American nationalism that helped forge our nation's identity and inspired American Lincoln, that inspired Abraham Lincoln to preserve the Union. I'm going to, which part should I read? Because we've got a lot of books to move through. Okay, when the United States was founded in 1776, its citizens didn't think of themselves as Americans. They were New Yorkers or Virginians or Pennsylvanians. It was decades later that the seeds of American nationalism, identifying with one's own nation and supporting its broader interests, began to take root. But what kind of nationalism should Americans embrace? The state-focused and racist nationalism of Thomas Jefferson and Andrew Jackson? Or the belief that the U.S. Constitution made all Americans one nation indivisible, which Daniel Webster and others espoused? In Indivisible, historian and law professor Joel Richard Paul tells the fascinating story of how Webster, a young New Hampshire attorney turned politician, rose to national prominence through his powerful oratory and unwavering belief in the United States and captured the national imagination. Indivisible is both a compelling history and a fascinating account of one of the founders of our national perspective. So it's a big book. May not look too big, but let's see here. Minus the notes. Wow, God, another 400-page book. But good stuff, because I love it. Indivisible, coming from Riverhead Books, October 25th. And I will be writing a review of this for Shelf Awareness, as well as The Abyss. Those will be two things. And if you follow me on social media, I always post, so you can always go and read the review. All right, now this book might already be out now. I think I kind of missed my window of opportunity. It just says September, so not out yet. September 20th. Okay, so we still got some new history on the horizon. What? This is from W.W. Norton and Company, and this is an advanced review copy I had. But this is Nomads, The Wanderers Who Shaped Our World by Anthony Satin. That's a great cover. I love that. Just the footprint. That's so smart. So I'll just hold this up. I've got the pub sheet. Nomads tells the remarkable story of how nomads have fostered and refreshed civilization throughout our history. Moving across millennia, Nomads explores the transformative and often bloody relationship between settled and mobile societies. Often overlooked in history, the story of the umbilical connections between these two very different ways of living presents a radical new view of human civilization. From the Neolithic Revolution to the 21st century, via the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, the great nomadic empires of the Arabs and Mongols, the Mughals, and the development of the Silk Road, nomads have been a perpetual counterbalance to the empires created by the power of human cities. Exploring the evolutionary biology and psychology of restlessness that makes us human, Anthony Sattin's sweeping history charts the power of nomadism from before the Bible to its decline in the present day. Connecting us to mythology and the records of antiquity, Nomads explains why we leave home and why we like to return again. This is the history of civilization as told through its outsiders. Fabulous. I don't believe I have read anything by Anthony Sattin. He lives in London, and he has written several books of history and travel, including The Gates of Africa and Lifting the Veil. So this comes out September 20th, W.W. Norton. Fantastic. These are all winners in my book. All right. Woohoo! Another book. This one is out right now. Another book by W. Norton and Company. I have the finished copy. I think it should be out right now. I will be reviewing this in depth, a long review for Book Browse. I submit that on October 4th, so I need to start reading this probably the middle of September. On a topic I've always enjoyed researching and studying more about, and that's Africa. So this book is called Africa is Not a Country. Notes on a Bright Continent by Dippo Faloyan. Africa is not a country. Okay, so what is this one about? So often, Africa has been depicted simplistically as a uniform land of famines and safaris, poverty and strife, stripped of all nuance. In this bold and insightful book, Dippo Faloyan offers a much-needed corrective, weaving a vibrant tapestry of stories that bring to life Africa's rich diversity, communities, and histories. Starting with an immersive description of the lively and complex urban life of Lagos, Faloyan unearths surprising truths about many African countries' colonial heritage and tells the story of the continent's struggles with democracy through 7 dictatorships. With biting wit, he takes on the phenomenon of the white savior complex and brings to light the damage caused by charity campaigns of the past decades, revisiting such cultural touchstones as the Coney 2012 film. Entering into the rivalries that energize the continent, Faloyan engages in the heated debate over which West African country makes the best jollof rice and describes the strange, incongruent beauty of the African Cup of Nations. With an eye toward the future promise of the continent, he explores the youth-led cultural and political movements that are defining and reimagining Africa on their own terms. So this looks great. Anyway, I signed up to write the review for this because, again, I am very much kind of intrigued into it. Into African, also just reading about African countries, and, Africa as a continent, but also I love reading just the regional histories as well. So this is going to be like a far-ranging, obviously, Africa is not a country, it's a continent. So it's going to be great. This one I think is out now, though, but when did this come out? It doesn't say what month, but yeah. So this is out now if you're interested, and I'll be writing a review. Keep your eyes peeled for that for Book Browse. All right. Let's see if I can kind of put these together. All right. Whoa. I've got some fiction. I'll save those for last here. All right. Ooh. And then this book I will be reviewing in December for the Saber and Scroll Journal. I recently posted a review I did for them. So this is coming out. This book is coming out in November. Going out a little further here. It's from Mariner Books. It's on sale November 8th. This is Our Man in Tokyo, an American Ambassador, and The Countdown to Pearl Harbor by Steve Kemper. By Mariner Books, November 8th. Says here, sorry for the glare. In 1932, Japan was in crisis. Naval officers had assassinated the prime minister, and the army had invaded Manchuria without permission from the Japanese government. As the military stranglehold on the government tightened, conspiracies flourished and propaganda campaigns swept the country, admonishing citizens to report spies and urging schoolchildren to collect money planes and tanks. Japan's relationship with the United States and other Western nations was rapidly deteriorating. This is a long press release here. Into this maelstrom stepped Joseph C. Grew, America's most experienced and talented diplomat. As Steve Kemper chronicles in his dramatic account of Grew's tenure in Japan, Our Man in Tokyo, Grew spent the next decade attempting to warn American leaders about the risks of Japan's raging nationalism and ambitious militarism, while also trying to stabilize Tokyo's increasingly erratic and belligerent foreign policy. His dispatches and counsel from the darkening heart of the Japanese Empire was prescient, but often disregarded in Washington. This is going to be a really good story. I'm looking forward to writing about this one. Let me finish up with what it says on the back here. It says, drawing on Grew's diary of his time in Tokyo, as well as on U.S. Embassy correspondence, diplomatic dispatches, and first-hand Japanese accounts, Our Man in Tokyo brings to life a man who risked everything to avert another world war, the country where he staked it all, and the abyss that swallowed it. Oh, this is going to be a good one. So I'll be reading this in November sometime. So I've got a little ways yet on that, but keep it on your radar. Coming out on November 8th. Right. And I thought I'd show this to you. I received a finished copy. I know I showed this. You've seen it on this channel before in an advanced review copy, and I still need to get to it, and because it looks like a really fun read. But this is the finished copy of American Demon, Eliot Ness and the Hunt for America's Jack the Ripper by Daniel Stashower. It's put out by Minotaur Books. Yep, it's a really nice cover. This black and this gold print on the front. Yes, this one is about, says here, Boston had its Strangler, California had the Zodiac Killer, and in the depths of the Great Depression, Cleveland had the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run. And on September 5th, 1934, a young beachcomber made a gruesome discovery on the shores of Cleveland's Lake Erie. The lower half of a female torso neatly severed at the waist. The victim, dubbed the Lady of the Lake, was only the first of a butcher's dozen. Oh, great. Over the next 4 years, 12 more bodies would be scattered across the city. The bodies were dismembered with surgical precision and drained of blood. Some had been beheaded while still alive. Ugh. Oh, how awful. Terror gripped the city. Oh, amid the growing uproar, Cleveland's besieged mayor turned to his newly appointed director of public safety, Eliot Ness. Ness had come to Cleveland fresh from his headline-grabbing exploits in Chicago, where he and his band of untouchables led the frontline assault on Al Capone's bootlegging empire. Now he would confront a case that would redefine his storied career. Award-winning author Daniel Stashower shines a fresh light on one of the most notorious puzzles in the annals of crime and uncovers the gripping story of Ness's hunt for a sadistic killer as brilliant as he was cool and composed, a mastermind who was able to hide in plain sight. American Demon reconstructs this ultimate battle of wits between a hero and a madman. Do you like that pause there? I feel like I could be on ABC's Dateline for 2020. So, finished copy. This book is out now. You can probably request it. It's probably already at your library or, wherever you shop. You know what I'm saying? All right. And just for controversy's sake, because I love to read things sometimes that just are out there, that are just kind of out there. But not out there. Listen, we'll find out once I read it. But I just saw this came out from Regnery Gateway. And this is provocative, to say the least. But I'm curious. I love to read all different. I like to read different viewpoints, accepting some other stuff that's just really, I can't. DM me and I'll tell you what. All right. But this is an intriguing premise, and I want to see if this guy can make his case. We shall find out. So this is new from Regnery Gateway, brand new out right now. In defense of German colonialism and how its critics empowered Nazis, communists, and the enemies of the West, by Bruce Gilley, who wrote The Last Imperialist, which I think is a book I wanted to check out too. Okay, interesting. So what are we doing here? So this came out August 2nd. It's out right now. Oh boy. Wow. I don't even know how to begin. Okay, I'm going to read from the dust jacket because I think the pub sheet this has an excerpt and it might be a little more incendiary in there. Let me go to the dust jacket. Copy. Truth recovered. Germany was a late participant in the European colonial project, but that has not stopped its critics from inventing egregious lies about its past. From West Africa to the South Pacific, Germany brought humane government and economic development to millions of people. And for this, Germans today are told they must feel nothing but shame. In defiance of that orthodoxy, Bruce Gilley reveals the benevolence behind Germany's imperial enterprise. A reluctant colonial power, Germany was motivated more by the moral imperative of improving humanity than by its own economic interests. Gilley marshals dozens of examples of Germany's dedication to the welfare of its colonial subjects, but the most powerful testimony is that of their own descendants. To this day, people from Namibia to New Guinea look back on German rule with fondness. Okay. Haunted by the demons of Nazism, Germany, like the rest of the West, regards its colonial past as something to atone for. But a reckoning with the past is worthless if it is not a reckoning with the truth. In defense of German colonialism is an essential corrective. Okay, so that is going to be very controversial. I'm curious to see other reviews on this. Oh, this is the guy. Right. And I've been meaning to, I wanted to read that article he wrote because I was like, wow, that is really staking a position in the sand and sticking to it. But he wrote an article in 2017, and I believe it was published by a journal that is put out by the National Association of Scholars, and it was called "The Case for Colonialism," and it did draw international attention, and he did receive death threats in response. He's a graduate of Princeton University and the University of Oxford, and he lives in Portland, Oregon. So he's living in, by his own lights, he's living in the belly of the beast, right? Living in Portland, Oregon, and he's writing this, man. Wow, that dude's got some stones. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you will have something to say about this one. And hey, you know what? I am able to read these things, and either I can be swayed or I can roll my eyes. Either way, it doesn't faze me. It only phases you if you let it phase you. These are just someone's ideas, you know. It doesn't have to keep you up at night. It's just a book with ideas that you can take or leave. So anyway, so that is from Regnery Gateway, and I am looking forward to seeing how he's going to make that case. I'm very intrigued by that. How do you make that case? It seems almost impossible with the zeitgeist around, decolonizing and post-colonialism. I mean, so anyway, there you have that. Okay, now we're moving on to some fiction. Now this book is coming out October 11th. I was hoping I was going to be able to fit this into my reading schedule to write a quick review of this. Oh, heavens to Betsy. I still might. It's only 148 pages. But I am just so, I've got two buddy reads going, and I've got those two massive books I have to start reading. Oh, God. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about my schedule, and I got another three that are due on the 15th for the Historical Novel Society. But I really wanted to read this, and I still will. You know what? I might just make it happen. I might just pull an all-nighter. Why not? I'll do it over the weekend. So this is called Not Russian. Now, this is not the final cover. I think this is going to be the final cover. Not Russian, by Mikhail Shevelev, and it's translated from the Russian by Brian James Baer and Ellen Vayner. It's a gripping, illuminating novel about recent Russian aggressions and the humans caught in the crossfire. So this is from Europa Editions. This is an uncorrected proof. As you can see, very skinny book. It's coming out October 11th, so my review would be due, in three or 4 days. Maybe this weekend. All right, well, what is this about? On the evening, this is not the final cover. I don't know. I'm just holding it up so you have something to look at besides my broken out face. Sorry about that. It's the heat and everything else. I don't know what it is. One evening in 2015, journalist Pavel Vladimirovich and his wife Tatiana are at home when the news breaks that there has been a terrorist attack. Over 100 people have been taken hostage in the Church of the Epiphany in the village of Nikolskoye near Moscow. As they watch, on the TV screen appears the face of one of the terrorists, Vadim Petrovich Seryagin, an old friend of Pavel's. The friendship between the two men evolved through periods of conflict, war, peace, emigration, and isolation. Pavel may be one of Vadim's only friends, and when others realize this, he is asked to negotiate with Vadim. As the stakes get higher and higher, Vadim's story, including his connection to wars, is revealed, and it becomes clear that their first meeting was not all it first seemed to be. So again, I think that will be the cover. A Europa edition, and it just sounded very intriguing to me. A little work of fiction, and I wanted to check it out. So I'll see if I can try to knock it out this weekend. I think Peg might need to take a reading break at some point, but I just, okay. I'm going to keep going. All right. Now this one, I signed up for a giveaway, and those giveaways mean you may or may not get it. It's like winning a prize, you know. So I threw my hat in the lot. I'm like, why not? Because I still want to read this guy's mega magnum opus, Jerusalem. This is Alan Moore, you guys. And he has a new book coming out in October. It is a collection of short stories. I'm trying to find the exact dates. It's coming out from Bloomsbury. And this is coming out, give me a date, in October. Shit. Just says October. Okay. Anyway, if you're an Alan Moore fan, look out. Here it comes. Illuminations. Stories by Alan Moore. I just got an advanced reading copy from the giveaway, so I was really stoked about that. There's our guy. Let me read to you here. In his first ever short story collection, which spans 40 years of work, Alan Moore presents a series of wildly different and equally unforgettable characters who discover, and in some cases even make and unmake, the various uncharted parts of existence. In A Hypothetical Lizard, two concubines in a brothel of fantastical specialists fall in love with tragic ramifications. In Not Even Legend, a paranormal study group is infiltrated by one of the otherworldly beings they seek to investigate. That sounds like fun. In Illuminations, a nostalgic older man decides to visit a seaside resort from his youth and finds the past all too close at hand. And in the monumental novella, What We Can Know About Thunderman, which charts the surreal and Kafkaesque history of the comics industry's major players over the last 75 years, Moore reveals the dark beating heart of the superhero business. From ghosts and otherworldly creatures to theoretical boltzmann brains fashioning the universe at the Big Bang, Illuminations is exactly that, a series of bright, startling tales from a contemporary legend that reveal the full power of imagination and magic. So, was really pleased to have won this in a little giveaway. Um, I still have his Jerusalem in my cart. I want to read that just because I've heard everyone waxing rhapsodic about it. But now I have a collection of his first ever short stories, so maybe I can dip my toes in here first to see how I like the guy, you know. And then I received this book just out of the blue. I don't even know. I don't even think I did. I might have put in for it. I might have put in it for a giveaway. Looks like a little bit of a thriller. It's from Post Hill Press, and this is Reef Road, a novel by Deborah Goodrich Royce. Okay, and this comes out. Oh, heavens to Betsy, I don't have to read this for a little while yet. This comes out in January, folks, but I thought I'd share with you anyway that something is upcoming. A little bit down the road a bit. But a Reef Road, January 2023. So Post Hill Press is distributed by Simon & Schuster. So, okay. What does this say here? Deborah Goodrich Royce's third and most captivating thriller begins with a gruesome discovery on the glittery sands of Palm Beach in the early months of the 2020 pandemic. An already eerie, vacant, and dazing period in time, it's made even more peculiar by the appearance of a severed appendage. We find out later whose appendage it is. Oh no. Inspired by the actual murder of Deborah's mother's childhood best friend, Reef Road cinematically illustrates the human condition as it cracks under slowly building pressure from generational trauma and the resulting collateral damage that comes from those fissures. Few are spared, and its impact reverberates for decades. Wow. It says Reef Road is an atmospheric psychological thriller, perfect for readers of true crime and mysteries alike. So that was from like the letter from the editor. Let me just give you a brief paragraph that gives you like a little bit more. When a severed hand washes ashore in the wealthy enclave of Palm Beach, Florida, the lives of two women, a lonely writer obsessed with the unsolved murder of her mother's best friend, and a panicked wife whose husband has disappeared with their children, collide as the world shudders in the pandemic lockdown of 2020. So yeah, if I'm liking this, I might go back and read her other books, which she wrote, Ruby Falls and Finding Mrs. Ford. So there's Reef Road coming out in January. All right, so we're about 38 minutes in, but I still have way more to show you. Holy cannoli. All right, so let me know what you think about my idea for New History on the Horizon. And in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. I hope you found something here that, tickles your fancy or maybe enrages you. Either way, let me know in the comments below. And hope you have a good one and you're staying cool out there wherever you are. We have a 100-degree day tomorrow, and it's 99 today. Fun times. All right, until next time, BookTube, thanks for joining me here at the History Shelf. We'll see you soon. Bye.